everybody, it's Hussein Kabani, your favorite broker, and I want to give you guys a quick update on the real estate market. So we're basically mid-March 2022, and we've had a lot of change since the beginning of the year. So to kind of go back to the beginning of January, basically we started off in the GTA with what I would consider critically low inventory. So across the GTA, anything that's for sale on MLS, including freeholds, condos, vacant land, anything out there, we had just about 3,400 to 3,500 listings available for sale. Fast forward into the first week of March, or second week of March, I should say, we have almost 8,400, just over 8,400 listings available for sale. So basically we had like a 2.5 times increase in inventory in about two and a half months, under 2.5 months. More specifically, Durham had almost 4 times increase in inventory. So beginning of January, we were about just over 200 listings and we're just over 800 right now. So a huge increase in Durham in terms of inventory as well. Now, first thing I want to clarify here is that by no means does this mean that we have too much inventory, okay? To have 8,500 listings or 10,000 listings available for sale throughout the GTA on the MLS system, that's not a lot of inventory. I mean, it is a lot more inventory than we had at the beginning of the year, but it's still considered low inventory. And just to put that number into context a little bit, like I would say that we would have to have somewhere around that 18 to 20,000 mark in terms of listings to say that we even have like a balanced market. In terms of a balanced market, I mean what's kind of equal for buyer and seller, okay? So with the inventory that we have right now, we're not critically low, but this is one of the factors that is affecting our market right now. Now, to get into what is affecting our market, let me tell you about how January was. So January, when we didn't have so many listings available for sale, there was a time where I could take some of my buyers out to see maybe 1 or 2 properties, and they would more or less have to decide between these 2 properties which one they want. And it's great. They decided on they want B, okay? When they go for that B property, you also have to compete with 15, 20, 30 offers. There was one as high as 61 offers on a property earlier in the year as well. Right now, how that has changed because of the increase in inventory, now I could show you 5 or 7 houses and you could kind of pick and choose what you really like. And when we go to make an offer, you're probably going to have, maybe 3 or 4 or 10 offers. Like it's not as crazy as it was. Even in number of showings. So when we first started off in January versus being in the first week of March, we've pretty much seen our showings go down by half. I think it's still a very sensible number because now that you have more listings, more buyers are going to spread out a little bit more too. So it kind of makes sense. It's not a number that kind of scares me. But now what's happened is that I think our expectations in the market have to change at the same time, right? Because of all of these changes. So again, inventory was one of the things. The other thing that recently happened was the interest rate increase. And then we do have, a potential war that's kind of going on that's, in people's minds right now. And inflation, I think, is top of mind, including gas prices. So there's a lot of different components that are going on right now in the market that is affecting the market. I don't think it's one single thing. I don't think it's the inventory. I don't think it's just the interest rate increase. I think that there's a whole pile of stuff that has happened kind of all at once. And this is what's kind of causing, I believe, a little bit of a pullback in the market. Now, I think moving forward from over here, we're going to have to be a lot more realistic on what homes are going to be worth. I think in the past, you could have kind of just take a ballpark estimate of it and say, hey, we're going to list here low and it's going to kind of sell somewhere around here. You didn't have to really be precise. But right now, we're going to have to go back to our skills of being able to evaluate a home and really come forward with some real comparables and really be able to tell our sellers how this is actually going to play out. And the way that I'm working with my sellers right now is that, hey, I think we still have to take a shot with the market because I don't think the market is turned quite yet. I think that we still are going to go in lower and we are going to be trying to get an offer on offer presentation date or possibly even take a bully offer prior to the offer presentation date. And you know what? I believe that maybe 30, 50% of these offer presentation dates will fail. And when they do fail, what we're going to probably see is that if that seller needs to sell that property, they're probably going to terminate that listing and they're probably going to come up at a higher price or they're going to do a price change. So if they had a property listed at around $900,000 and they were trying to get $1.2 million, we'll probably see that property come back up to that $1.2 million range. Now, my opinion is I would discourage people to kind of list out of the gate at the higher number that they want, because there's a lot of agents out there that still haven't understood what is going on. So if they see your listing out there at $1.2 million, they might just overlook it, expecting that you may want $1.5 million for the property. So at this point right now, I don't think it's a good idea for us to go on the market at market value just yet. I think that time will come. I think we're going to probably have to see the inventory climb up towards the 15, 16,000 mark. And if it gets up to that in the range, then I would say we'd probably just come on the market of where we would want to sell. So that is kind of a little bit of a change in the market I'm noticing, and more so about how we're seeing trading in the market and how we see it changing to trade. So overall, I think the market is still very healthy. I think nice looking homes. I'm big on presentation. So if you ever talk to me about selling a property, you will know I'm big on staging, big on presentation, big on having amazing media to showcase your property to even attract the buyer to get to it. I think we're just going to have to do a lot more of that, a heavier advertisement, and being less reliant on MLS to bring in the buyers for us as well. But overall, I think prices are going to be pretty stable. I can't see that really changing based on where the inventory is at right now. How long can you say that we're going to be okay for? I think anything a month or 2 months ahead of us gets very blurry. I think we can only kind of take this at a month at a time and predict what's going to happen from there. If somebody asks me what's going to happen by the end of the year, or they're interested in selling next year because they have pre-construction closing, I think I would advise them to be pretty careful. Just before I drop this off, I have a couple of clients right now that do have new construction that's going to be closing in September. Ideally, I wouldn't have had a problem with them listing like maybe 3 months prior to that and then getting their house on the market. But right now, that's not the advice I'd be giving them. I'd be giving them the advice of, hey, let's not miss the spring market. Let's not let this go into the summer. And if you have to be inconvenienced a little bit in terms of having to go to an Airbnb or finding a spot where you got to be for a month or maybe 6 weeks prior to your new home closing, I'd say the better decision is probably to get on the market now and make sure that you have cash in hand to close on your new property. All right, guys, so that was a little bit of a recap of what's kind of been happening in the first, 9-10 weeks of the year 2022. If you guys have any specific questions, feel free to give me a call, send me a DM, text message. I'd be more than happy to have a quick 15-20 minute conversation with you and give you a little bit more insight and specifically address any questions that you guys have. All right, guys, until next time, remember one thing, get Kabani, get sold.
Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold.